Welcome everybody to TORC, the Off-Road Championship, presented by AMSOIL, and it is the final pro race of the afternoon, which we will see a tremendous battle between the best of Pro 2s and the best of Pro 4s in the Forest County Potawatomi Community Cup, as they're about to hit the starting line as they line up a special race they have in the springtime, or it's now actually summer. They call it the Brush Run, and we have 7 different winners in our field, actually different drivers, but have won a total of 7 times in the years they've been doing this. But a head-to-head race with a differential between the Pro 2s that'll lead off the Pro 4s. We don't know what that differential is yet, but we know there is no competition caution. The 2s take off first. The 4s, their job is to catch up, and we crown a winner at the end of the afternoon. Welcome, everybody. I'm Robbie Floyd, joined now by Cam Reimers, Pro Light driver. And Cam, I know you move up into the Pro 2, Pro 4 ranks. This is where you can make some extra bucks, and it's always a fun race to watch as a fan.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, a lot comes down to the track conditions, you know, and that's why they're waiting a while to decide what this head start's going to be. The rain's coming down right now. It'll be real interesting. Obviously, the slipperier it is, the Pro 4s have a huge advantage. Differential
between the 2s and the 4s, we do not know that. But with the rain coming, as you mentioned, you know it's going to be a little bit longer than it would if it was a dry course, and they find that differential from the race that they had at round 6 here in Crandon. But with the rain coming down, that has to suit the Pro 4. So that differential probably needs to be a little bit more than they planned maybe even 30 minutes ago when it wasn't raining.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like they didn't throw down any water, you know, and bladed some fresh dirt back in. So early, I expect the Pro 2s to have some pretty competitive lap times. But as it starts to blow off down to that real hard surface, if this rain continues, it's just going to become an ice skating rink, and 4 wheels digging is always a huge advantage here at Crandon versus the Pro 2s.
2 out of the last 3 brush runs have been won by Pro 2s, and they're both in this field. Chad Horde won back in 2014. Keegan Kincaid won last year. But former winners that are in the field, whether it be 2s or 4s, Kincaid, Johnny Greaves, a 4-time winner of this. Chad Horde won in the Pro 2s. Kent Brasho back in 2008, also winning in a Pro 4. But the granddaddy of the brush run, as far as the field we have here today, without question, is Johnny Greaves. But his son, CJ, might have a little something to say about that, because he got into it with his father in the Pro 4 race earlier today. But either way, when you head into turn 1 at Crandon, it's always special, whether you're 3 wide, 8, 9 wide, whatever it takes. When you're heading into that turn at almost 100 miles an hour, things get a little crazy.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's you know, going to be crucial, you know, with Luke Johnson and Brad Lovell on the front row, which one of them can get out first and get clean. I think both of them are, you know, smart enough drivers to where they can't afford to start battling here early and allow the Pro 4s to catch up. They need to just get in line and start putting down clean laps and you know, try to make moves later in the race. But they need to try to get away from the 4s, that's for sure.
I had both Lovell, Johnson, Hanegraaff, the 3 drivers on there. Mark Peterson not making the field. Or is that him on the farthest to the right? Or that's Luke Johnson. Couldn't tell. I thought it seen a lot of brown. I thought it was black for just a moment. So we'll see the start. Hanegraaff sandwiched in between the 2 guys that have been racing Pro 2 here for a bit and throughout the season, and had been front runners. Hanegraaff trying to get in the mix as well. Those are your 3 Pro 2 drivers. You can see the rain even on our monitor. It is starting to really come down hard. This is a 10-lap race, unlike earlier in the day when the Pro 2s, 4s, and lights were racing 9 laps. These will be these guys will go for 10 laps. No competition caution. That's the thing, because it doesn't make sense. If we're restacking the field again, why do it? But you know, Pro 2s will start out in front. It's up to the Pro 4s to pass them.
Yeah, and you know, on paper, Brad Lovell has, you know, with sweeping the weekend, you know, I guess I'd say he's the favorite. But Luke Johnson was fast. I know he's had some issues with the truck there
had
earlier.
Some water in his fuel. That's what he reported, that for whatever reason, got a new batch of fuel and it had some water in it, so it really cost him a chance at a Pro 2 race win at this round. But you see the Pro 4s, they have more horsepower, even though they dropped the RPM restrictions, or they lowered the RPM restrictions from last year. They still have a ton of horsepower out there, almost 900 horsepower. And you see Cowboy lining up, making sure the 4s are all right. We also have somebody helping out the 2s in front. We still don't know that differential. Pro 2s, that front row, they'll start first. Who's gonna get the whole shot? Face Desi up there. And the rain is pouring. I can hear it on our booth right now. Red will turn to yellow, yellow will turn to green. 10 laps of racing, and it takes a while before they even take the green flag, about a half a lap before they even take the green flag, so really about 10.5 laps this race is. Pro 2s are off, a lot of tires spinning, looks like a good run by Hanegraaff, but here comes Luke Johnson on the outside. Hanegraaff's gonna close off Lovell just a bit, and adios Luke Johnson.
Yeah, monster hole shot by Luke. He started a little bit more in the dirt versus Brad Lovell in the grass, and I think the slipperiness it showed right off the start, but this is what Luke needs, no mistakes. Got to get out there and just start pounding qualifying laps.
Get out, check out, and I believe a $15,000 purse as well here in the Forest County Potawatomi Community Cup. As they call it, the brush run coming down that straightaway, throw it in, and there go the Pro 4s. We'll get you that differential here in just a second. Who's going to get the start? It is a 35-second differential, and Ross Hook with another strong start, but CJ Greaves a full truck ahead. His father Johnny just behind him. You see, heading into that final turn is Luke Johnson, heading into this wide sweeper, Johnny, CJ, and I believe that's Keegan Kincaid in third spot.
Yeah, as you can see the loose dirt on top, that's where the traction's going to be. There you see a bunch of shiny spots as the rain comes down. Those are the spots you want to stay away from, but you got to have a good eye. Oh, there Ross Hook goes around, stacks up some drivers in the gravel pit turn.
With CJ out in front, it was much like in the Pro 4 in round 6, and Johnny got into his door right there. It really cost him a race, cost him a chance. Johnny said, I didn't mean to. It happens. It's one of those racing things. CJ, I don't think really saw it that way, and he's going to be driving angry in this race. He's going to have a heavy foot.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to check out. That was an interesting exchange earlier, and people that say these two play nice together. That was Johnny going for it, and it was slight mistake. You could see him lift off. You could see the fire underneath his truck right about as he hit CJ, just a little too committed. But he wanted to win that, and he fought hard against Keegan Kincaid there at the end to hold him off. So it paid off for Johnny. So we'll see how this one goes.
Slop City as they make that left-hand turn around that tree turn. I mean, it's going to get ugly. That's harder for the Pro 2s.
Yeah, it's hard for the Pro 2s, and you actually see the Pro 4s really struggling to pick up the throttle early. You see them as they're getting in the gas, they have a lot of wheel turned in. They're not flicked very far, counter steering. See them steering around the turn. They've got to start being a little bit more aggressive, flicking the thing in. But I was out there, and there's a ton of holes. I know they're just trying to get a feel for what the track's like. There you see CJ throwing it in hard. Still a little push through the middle.
He's hammering down. Again, the rain should play in the Pro 4's favor, but Luke Johnson, the only one to complete the lap in the Pro 2s, and now Lovell and Hanegraaff come across. CJ about to complete his first lap. So if we started with 35 seconds, let's find out what one lap is. CJ Greaves 27.9, so we made up 6 seconds. He should catch him.
Yeah, the math plays out that way, but there's still going to be a couple people, to get through these other Pro 2s, Hanegraaff and Lovell. How clean can the Pro 4s get them? If they can hang it around the inside and just pass them, then they'll be fine. But if they're outrunning the cushion where the Pro 2s are, it may take a few turns, and that's all Luke and I don't know where Lovell's at.
He's in second, but about 5 seconds back. So he's got clear track. So you're right. That's a good thing for Luke if he can hold him up. If not, then he'll just be, it's like a fly. Just go flick him off.
Yep, and right now you can see the cushion pretty low in the turn. That's going to help Luke. If he has to start chasing that to the top of the berm, if it starts blowing off, it's just going to be a long way around.
Right? The longer you go, the longer the time it's going to take you to get around there. Luke Johnson, number 14, having some fuel issues in the Pro 2 race. Looks like he's got that thing sorted out now. Out of California, Marietta, California, the Langland Ford Cooper Tires entry. There's the difference between himself and Brad Lovell. It looks like now it's 6.6 seconds, so Luke separating himself just a bit. Hanegraaff back in third, 17 seconds behind Johnson.
I really like what Luke's doing. You see Brad throwing it in on the cushion, and it just tightens him up just that little bit. Luke's throwing it in a little bit below the cushion and helping to rotate the truck. They're a little bit deeper, but Brad and Luke are going for it. I can't imagine. I've been out here when the track's slippery like this. I actually picked up my win in these sort of conditions, and it is very, very hard to tell yourself slower's faster. I mean, Brad and Luke are veterans of off-road, and trying to put in clean laps right now, but that's easier said than done, that's for sure.
So there's CJ Greaves, that Monster Energy Toyota, the mutant entry, and Dad's not too far behind him. CJ's moved up into third, and you know what? He's 23.5 seconds, so he only made up about 4.5 seconds that round. That's exactly what Luke Johnson needed. Let's go down to Kate Osborne.
Well, it is safe to say that CJ is out for some vengeance after his Pro 4 race here earlier today. I did ask him if he has talked to his dad, and he kind of waved me off a little bit. But I want you to know that his strategy is interesting, because CJ does not usually go into races with strategy. He did say he had one for this. Get through the traffic and waste as little as time as possible.
Well, he did just that. He knocked off Hanegraaff once he closed into him, but the only other two drivers in front of him are Brad Lovell and Luke Johnson. But he also has his dad in his rearview mirror, and Keegan Kincaid not too far behind her. Actually, Kincaid has dropped off. That's Hanegraaff there, so something happened to Kincaid. But yeah, Johnny's not letting go of CJ's rear bumper.
No, he's eating a lot of roost with following so close to CJ too. He wants to make the pass right now, that's for sure. I'm sure this is not, he's going through a lot of tear-offs. He's going to try to make it happen early.
There's CJ entering the picture, closing in on second place in Pro 2s. The last time around, CJ 17:32. So that was about a 6-second advantage.
CJ really high up in that berm on the tree turn, trying to get a run down the straightaway, searching for grip. You know, he's moving around. He knows you're going to have to adapt with this track, and as the rain continues to fall, you're going to have to find something, because his dad's able to watch CJ's lines and try a lot of stuff, learn what's fast, learn what's slow, and it's nice to see CJ moving around too. That's always a tough thing to do when you're leading, the group of the Pro 4s like this.
CJ on his fastest lap of 1:21.79. The next closest is actually Keegan Kincaid, but Kincaid back in 5th place as it stands right now. So CJ making up ground 4, 5, 6 seconds at a time. His dad is also climbing on his rear bumper. They're both closing in on the Pro 2 driver just in front, Brad Lovell, as they're on lap 5 of 10 right now. And the differential that last time is CJ comes across 12.04 seconds.
Here you see him into Brad. Brad looks like he's going to fight for this thing pretty good here too. This is going to be how quick they can get there.
CJ went inside, but Brad might be able to go over and under. And here comes Johnny. Johnny might get them both. Johnny Greaves drag racing with his son CJ. What a slide job by the old man.
Wow, that was interesting. He had that thing set up, watched what was unfolding, and played that perfectly. You can see CJ wanting to make it happen quick. I think these two feel this is the race right now.
And don't you think that was the case, that they're about 11 seconds behind? Don't you think that's why Johnny had to be so tight with CJ? It's not that he was racing at that time. He knew his opportunity was when CJ was going to try and take an opportunity.
It's like a basketball screen. He was
yeah.
Lovell was kind of his screen there, and look at Keegan looking frisky. He hasn't lost touch with this group. We haven't talked about it much, but he was really good earlier in the day, and he looks like he's finding some stuff too. You see him run a little bit different line down this straightaway, searching for some traction.
And I thought he'd drop back a bit too, but yeah, he is definitely closing in. And they both checked away from Brad Lovell. So Luke Johnson completed 4 laps. He's about to complete his 5th, which just comes across the stripe. We'll find out that differential, because we're at the halfway point of this race, and CJ Green comes across 7.72 seconds behind.
This cushion that they're running in is so thick. It's not typical for Crandon. We see Johnny buried into the finish line turn, and it just kills all his momentum. Luckily, was able to drive hard across the slippery stuff, but wow, it really drags it down.
This tells us it's going to be a Pro 4 race, though, doesn't it? I mean, the way that they're closed in, 7 seconds with 5 laps to go, and they're probably going to catch it with about a lap and a half from now.
I think so. I know Luke's going to fight for this. This is something that he told me earlier in the day. He's got to make some money on this race for him to continue the rest of the year. He's really searching. He's got great sponsors behind him, but this off-road racing's not easy on the pocketbook. So Luke wants this battle. I'll tell you that much. I wouldn't see him give up this lead very easy. They're going to catch him, but
it's still Johnny in second, though. I know I might have said CJ a time or two. Both of those guys have been back and forth, but it's Johnny Greaves in second, CJ in third, Keegan Kincaid in 4th, and they're chasing down LJ 14, Luke Johnson in the Pro 2-wheel drive, as Johnny's in second. And there's LJ. You got more on Luke Johnson, Kate?
Yeah, Luke Johnson is hearing in his ear, don't let CJ bother you. 20 on CJ. Don't change anything. Keep doing what you're doing and settle in. Again, this is one of those races that you definitely get props from everybody in the paddock if you win it.
And yeah, you can say 20, but right now you can say 2 on Johnny. That's what we're seeing right now. Johnny Greaves in second. And that 20 is gone quickly because the Pro 4s, it's muddy. They're supposed to do that. But CJ can look forward all he wants, but he knows he has a Pro 4 that can go underneath him at any given moment.
Yeah, and one thing to think about too with Johnny and CJ having to roll Luke
too
to
high.
the top. He might have a drive down here.
No, he was too high.
Yep.
Yeah, he was over the top of that berm almost. And Johnny swapping around a little bit as well, but that Monster Energy message. Wheels Racing Toyota just trying to pull away, and now Luke gets a cab full.
Yeah, that's big for Johnny. Those are the type of passes you want to make. Those ones that you caught them, you didn't spend long on them, and it didn't really hold you up. So,
hey, Johnny's eating a lot of roost today, though, too. You talked about it in Terrell. He's probably getting a little thin the way that he started off his race.
yeah, and something to think about, like I talked about the track conditions being really sandy and deep earlier. You know, with CJ and Johnny haven't been following each other. You know, something you got to think about, all these coolers and the radiators are in the rear of the trucks. All that sand and stuff coming through will get that truck, you know, all the temps really hot. So we'll see if they have any issues with overheating throughout it. Clean air will definitely help Johnny right now.
Yeah, it's the first time that Luke actually got any roost throughout this race, but the Pro 4s definitely have an advantage. You see the rain on our camera lens. The rain coming down those doors with all 4 wheels, all that horsepower, and the Project tire for that matter. Luke's out on there on Project tire.
Yeah,
or the, excuse me, DOT tire.
Yeah, with the Project tire, and even with the DOT, you know, they're adding grooves to the tire, and who knows what track conditions they prepared for. You know, this rain only started coming down about 20 minutes or a half hour ago. They might have been set up for dry slick like the track was a little bit earlier.
Luke's got a lot of push. He couldn't turn it, and he saved it right there. That thing, he went to set up on the outside. Ooh, it's going to get really sloppy. He tried setting up on the outside, and she was not turning.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about earlier with chasing that cushion. Luke was just trying to get somewhere where he had some grip to get off the turn and fight. And I think he knew there, you know, he needed to push as hard as he could. A mistake really wasn't going to cost him that much. I think he can feel the pressure of CJ, and you know, with 3 laps left, he needed to try to find something.
Watch this. He's trying to flick. He's trying to throw it in there. That's called understeer. That's a big push in NASCAR terms.
Yeah, and I'm sure he was probably even in his handbrake, which is, the handbrake just controls the rear tires. It helps you slide in that sort of scenario, but when it's this slippery, it's just so hard to get the truck to turn.
Yeah, you get that perpetual push, and that's the beauty of having Pro 4, because those front wheels actually will help you turn into that corner. And you're seeing Johnny Greaves, after 8 laps complete, 5.26 seconds ahead of son CJ. Keegan Kincaid back in 3rd. Luke Johnson, the best Pro 2-wheel drive, in 4th. 5th place, Brad Lovell, but he's literally some 25 seconds behind the leader, Johnny Greaves.
Johnny looking really smooth right now. He kind of enters the cushion, he's not flicking it real hard coming in, waiting there a little bit and picking up the throttle, still steering into it and driving around the turn where there's a bunch of traction. And I think it's not upsetting the truck as opposed to the guys that are trying to flick it in a little bit harder and it's tightening them or tightening their truck up or loosening them up too. So they look really good. And there's Keegan coming in the picture too.
Yeah, Keegan from Crandon, Wisconsin. Johnny Greaves from Abrams, Wisconsin. These are 2 hometown favorite of Keegan Kincaid. Keegan is really coming on strong here with about a lap and a half to go. Keegan Kincaid starting to get in the picture, and there's a lap truck up in front. That could play a factor as well, Cam.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys have logged a ton of laps here. You know.
That was actually CJ. I'm looking at the 2 between them. Johnny's checked out. I sure wish they would go back to the orange paint scheme or something like that, make it easier on me.
There you go. Yeah, these 2 have logged so many laps here, and Johnny, you know, you can throw all 3 of them in, but you know, not very many of these sort of track conditions with the rain coming down, and like I said, these huge cushions. It's really interesting. It's fun watching these guys getting creative and trying to figure out where they need to be.
Final lap, who's going to take that Yamaha checkered flag first? CJ, maybe close in just a little bit on Johnny, or is Johnny just maintaining that 4-second advantage? Because CJ looked like he was poised to take the victory because he closed in with just one big bobble trying to get by Brad Lovell. It really made all the difference in the world in this race, and Johnny pounced when he had the opportunity.
Yeah, both times with that on Brad Lovell and with the time on CJ. Really aggressive. He was there at the right time. You know, and Johnny's kind of the guy that lets it hang out. CJ's so patient, so smart, and so smooth. And I think Dad's been taking a couple lessons, and he's really stepped up his game, aggressive when he needs to be, and just flawless in these tough track conditions.
Driving towards the gravel pit turn one more time. Look at that. Toyota horsepower just railing around the berm. Monster Energy number 22. He's done it 4 times before, all in the Pro 4 machine. They used to call it the Brush Run. Now it's a Forest County Potawatomi Community Cup. Either way, it is Johnny Greaves, the 22, taking the victory and the prize that goes with it, proving he's the best of the Pro 2s and Pro 4s today here at Crandon. CJ Greaves, some 2 seconds behind. Keegan Kincaid, only 3.5. We'll hear from Johnny Greaves when we return to TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. What a race in the Cup.
For 41 years, winning drivers in all forms of motorsports have relied on VP Racing Fuels for leading-edge technology to optimize performance and power them to the winner's circle. Now you can get the same benefit with VP Additives, formulated for gas and diesel engines. It's race fuel technology for your daily driver, and the perfect way to clean out your fuel system and put the power back in your drive. VP Additives are available at your local AutoZone store. For more information, visit vpracingfuels.com.
Welcome back as the top 3 line up there for the Forest County Potawatomi Community Cup and TORC the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. We're in Crandon, Wisconsin. The rain has been coming down throughout the afternoon, especially here later on in the afternoon. About a 35-second separation between the Pro 2s and the Pro 4s. The question was, who would be faster today? It was clear who was faster, and it's clear why they were faster. Pro 4s for sure. CJ Greaves was in the lead, but when he tried making that pass on level, somebody took advantage, Cam.
Yeah, Johnny just there, so smooth early in the race to be on CJ's bumper and just aggressive when he needed it to happen. Keegan Kincaid with a bunch of good laps. He was second fastest fast lap of the race. Just wasn't quite close enough at any point.
Luke Johnson had still a good position, was in that top 3, but just couldn't get that Pro 2 turned around. And yeah, it really cost CJ when he tried going around the outside of that Pro 2, and Pops with all 4s clawing underneath was able to take the advantage. And he is Johnny Greaves, and he is with Kate Osborne.
Well, Johnny, first, congratulations. You were smooth when you needed to be, and you were also aggressive on those other parts. For you, what was the key to getting around at the right time, especially?
Well, the key was when that one lapper got in between me and CJ, he went high, I went low. I got by CJ, and I'm sure we were both down about, I was only down to like 2 tear-offs left. CJ had a little bit cleaner air. So once I caught Luke, I had 1 tear-off left, and I followed him into that bottom corner. I pulled that one, he roosted me, I couldn't see anything. I threw my shield up, he went high in the berm, and I shot by, and I went, that was my only hope. If that went to happen, there's no way I could have chased him, because I was out of tear-offs, my shield was up, I couldn't see, and then it was just, I was trying to stay away from lappers because I couldn't handle the rain, and everything in your eyes was bad enough. But man, it was definitely an interesting track, but we've had something different every time we've been on it this weekend, and hats off to Crandon guys for giving us a track to race on.
How critical was that visibility? I mean, we were fortunate enough to be able to see your face. These other guys right out here, you couldn't see the face at all. I mean, visibility was insane.
Yeah, I mean, that was the key to the race. I mean, there could have been somebody faster, and it really didn't matter because if their shield was up, all you had to do was, throw it out one of these berms and roost them. But, once again, thanks to the Forest County Potawatomi for putting up this money. They do this every year for us. It's unfortunate it rained and a lot of people left, but it was pretty fun.
Congratulations, Johnny Greaves. Not the first time he's won this, but definitely sweet as all of them.
Thanks, Cade. Yeah, vision was definitely key there, and if it was another lap later, he probably couldn't have made that move. But Johnny Greaves takes the victory over CJ Keegan. Again, top threes were Pro 4s. The top Pro 2-wheel drive is Luke Johnson, LJ14 back there in fourth, followed by Brad Lovell, Scott Douglas, Hannah Graff Ford, Ross Hook, and Kemp Bradshaw rounding out the top 10. Kate's with CJ Greaves, who led for, well, a while there for a second, at least a split second. Well, he actually had a heck of a pass trying to get by Brad Lovell.
Yeah, I wish you all could have seen what CJ's face was when he pulled in here with his truck. That was, unfortunately, it happened at the start of the race for you. Walk us through, especially that mid part where you said you opened your visor.
Yeah, I was running good up front, and then it came down to trying to get around one Pro 2, and I ended up picking the wide line instead of the bottom line, and my dad got by me, and from there I knew it was all over. Lap 3, I had my shield open, so we were going down the straightaway trying to block with my hand, open and close my shield, doing anything I could to try to get a little bit of vision and not have it go into your eyes so bad, but I think Keegan came in looking exactly the same, so it was a fun race. It was super slippery, but it made it for a good time other than none of us could see.
CJ Greaves, second place here today.
Yeah, good run there. I thought he took the lead for a second. I forgot LJ was still out in front at that particular moment. But, yeah, vision was key. And Luke starting off, you talked about it, just how critical it was to be out there in clean air, not only for vision but for packing the radiators and stuff. But really vision seemed to be the determining factor for the guys today.
Yeah, I was once we were showing Johnny getting out of his truck, you could just see CJ just hammered in his eyes. It just so much mud, and that makes we can go back on some of our comments on why is he not being a little bit more aggressive there?
Can't see.
Yeah, you get in it and do it at 100 miles an hour. When you can't see and with your visor open, I can't imagine.
You can't see, you can't race, and Keegan Kincaid had to deal with it as well, Kate.
Yeah, he didn't just have to deal with it in the truck. Climbing out of the truck, his eyes are still watering. There's so much mud in there. Visibility was key, you're right, Robbie. But you know what, Keegan, you actually surpassed a lot of people with some really quick laps out there. For you, what was working?
Oh, what wasn't working is we couldn't see. But no, it was good. It was 7 laps ago, just like CJ said, our shields were up, and I think it just came down to whoever could see the better, and this rain was brutal, and when we picked the shields up, you just can't get close enough, and I think we would have been faster. We were faster than these guys, but just couldn't see, and this truck ran good, all weekend long, and a new truck to come out here and not having DNF yet has been good, and we're happy with the third. We're happy with our weekend. We've been improving each time we come out here, and can't thank Cooper Tire again, and Vision Wheel, Traxxas, everybody. We'll be back, and we'll be in the fall run and hopefully on top of the box.
The good news, guys, is they said it was a good time out here. Obviously, everyone couldn't see, but it was a Pro 4 sweep, the podium.
That's right, Kate. And Cam, I'll be interested to see how, when it's a mud race, maybe they run the mud muncher and then followed with tear-offs in front of them. I mean, double them up. Do what you got to do when you're going to go through them that fast.
I'm not sure if there was anything that could have helped him today. I stuff a towel in my pocket when I hit those wet races like this, but huge win by Johnny.
It's one thing knocking down dirt. It's another thing smearing around mud, but Johnny Greaves fought through it the best. Cam Reimers, thanks for joining me here.
Yeah, thank you.
Good to be a part of it again. Johnny Greaves, the winner of the Forest County Potawatomi Community Cup. Thank you, Kate Osborne. I'm Robbie Floyd. Stick around on TORCSeries.com. We've still got more sportsman action to come.